Hi, my name is Nicole Mendy with DHS Management, and I have Xfinity Mobile. I love that it connects to the Xfinity Wi-Fi anywhere I travel, and I get great service even when I go up north to visit my cousins in a very rural area. I love that it's also very inexpensive. I have the pay by the gig, and I put the unlimited data on my husband's phone alone, and my bill is under $100 a month, and he's on his phone a lot. I would highly recommend checking this out and getting this great deal for yourself.
Hello, my name is Eric Williams, and I'm a Comcast employee. And in 2009, I made the great decision to go back to school, and I chose the University of Phoenix. Why? Because it's a great institution, and it fit into my working lifestyle. And I encourage you to join the University of Phoenix. It gave me the business acumen to launch my own home web-based business, Detroit Made Inc., which is an apparel company that caters to the success and the rebirth of Detroit. So University of Phoenix, I thank you. Go back to school, get your Associates of Art degree or whatever degree you want at the University of Phoenix. You won't regret it. I am Detroit Made because of University of Phoenix.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Hey That's Easy. I'm your host, Lawton Luntz. This episode features guests that will talk about everything summer, whether you're out there landscaping, grilling, or heading on vacation. Tonight's guests will focus on all of those. We even have a financial coach to help with the budgets. We also have an inspiring story about a Metro Detroit father who continues to make sure kids are equally treated, especially during lunchtime, and a paralyzed motocross rider making a huge difference when shopping. Joining me is my co-host, Ava. Welcome.
Hello, Lawton. Hello, everyone. Happy Father's Day past. I think all the fathers are going to enjoy tonight's show. A lot of diversity, a great group. I'm super excited as always. So there's something for everyone tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, does our guest diversity ever just amaze you sometimes?
Yes, and I look forward to every single show because we have just, again, something for everyone. Professional development. We've got the culture, the arts, the sports. So yes, this is going to be a fun-filled show, and I am so excited. So let's roll.
Well, coming up, back by popular demand, our most beloved guest returns as our grill master, offering simple grilling tips for the summer. Also, a financial coach that is empowering women on wealth-building strategies and entrepreneurship. She may also tell us how to afford our next guest. I'd love to bring on at this time John Sheehan from Plymouth Nursery, or as we promoted him, John the Landscaper. Thanks for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm going to get right into it. Post-pandemic, we're getting to a point now where the masks are coming off in public places. People are starting to care a little bit more, be outside, care a little bit more about their yard. What are some of the things post-pandemic, if we can even call it that yet, that you're seeing from your customers?
Well, honestly, even I guess when things kind of shut down and people were at home, it kind of gave them an opportunity to just, since they were at home, to think what can we do to improve it and to enjoy it, especially the outside. So I guess the most popular option now is what they call an outdoor living space, which is a patio that also incorporates an outdoor kitchen or a fire pit, a pergola for some shade, as well as landscaping. So that seems to be the direction that people are heading towards. And there's a lot of flexibility there as far as design is concerned. And really, I mean, you can budget that as low as $2,500, and then really sky's the limit. But that's really what we're seeing a lot of right now, or is what they call outdoor living space, which essentially is a fancy way of saying a patio. So
Sure.
But hey, it sounds a lot better, you know.
You got to have a nice leisure space, that's for sure.
Yes.
Any easy fixes out there? I know we got a diverse amount of viewers. Whether you're first-time homeowner, or is there anything that you would suggest a quick, easy fix, something that everyone could do to their lawn outside, or something in their landscaping that would at least help it out at right away?
Certainly adding annuals, which are the flowers that just flower one season. They sell them at every grocery store now, Lowe's, Home Depot, but that splash of color can always enhance a landscape, whether even in an urban setting, if you've got planters hanging off the balcony. There's so much variety within the annuals that it lends a lot of creativity and allows the user to really do whatever they want. And they're inexpensive. I mean, they're as cheap as $1.99 for a little 6-pack. And again, you just have a ton of colors that you could choose from. So that would be the quickest thing. They're inexpensive, lots to choose from, and low maintenance, which of course is what everyone wants.
For sure. Now, I'm going to take it a step further, because we talked about outdoor living spaces and patios, and we're getting fancy. Where's your stance on landscape lighting and irrigation systems, maybe sprinklers? Because I think those are forgotten sometimes when you talk about your general landscaping duties.
They are, and they're all, I don't want to, I mean, the irrigation I would consider essential, and the lighting certainly will complement anything that you do, whether it be the patio or even just the landscape. What's nice about both of those features is that that's something that the homeowner can always add on at a later date. You don't need to do it. Everyone wants to kind of work within a budget. So, irrigation, I think, would rank number 1, and then lighting would be number 2. And that's increased in popularity. Gosh, I mean, this year we're probably doing triple the amount of landscape lighting than we had in years past. We have a great supplier in Details Lighting in Bala Cynwyd that their designers will actually work with the homeowner and create the perfect kind of lighting scenario for whatever that person's looking to do. So it's, but irrigation, if you're going to invest a few $1,000s in a landscape, you want to protect that, and irrigation would be the best way to do that. And if people want to do it on their own, then they can buy things like a soaker hose at a Home Depot or Lowe's and install that at a very inexpensive cost versus an actual underground irrigation system that we would install. But they both enhance, and lighting is aesthetic, but the irrigation certainly helps for their survival.
Without question. Now, Ava doesn't need any lighting, because she was telling me before the show that she's got a ton of weeds. And I know she's got some questions for you.
Yeah, I don't really want to spotlight my weeds, but they are becoming the size of trees. They're basically like my landscaping now. So, question for you, weeds, how do I kill them without killing my plants and my grass, because they're all intertwined? Do you have a recommendation? Right. And how would I do that? I am a novice, but I've got weeds everywhere.
Well, unfortunately with weeding, you still have to get your hands dirty and pull out the big ones. That's the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
Spraying is always an option, but you just have to be careful, because something like Roundup can honestly kill everything around it if you're not careful when spraying. So I would just recommend hand pulling for the homeowner, and really before you install a landscape, you put down what they call as a pre-emergent. It's a granular. You put it on top of the mulch. You water it in, and that will greatly reduce the amount of weeds that you experience. But yeah, I mean, just good old fashioned pulling the weeds. That's it. Wow. That's the best way.
That's
Still
a good
works.
Workout. That's actually,
yes, you could do it there. Exactly.
Like a plan. And now that it's summer, I heard you mention annuals, but what are some of the best plants for summertime? We're in summer, it's hot, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly annuals. I mean, there's some variables there too, depending on the area. Is it shady? Is it sunny? Again, annuals are inexpensive, so you can almost do trial and error really with those. Spend $50, get 10 flats, and go nuts. See what works, see what you like, see what you don't like. As far as perennials are concerned, lavender or salvia right now with a nice purple color, they're gorgeous and they're very fragrant. So I would probably steer someone in that direction, or coreopsis, which has a nice yellow flower. Again, it's almost, I always tell the client, do a little bit of homework, see what you like online, and then, we can go from there. And then we also offer free consultations too, so we can always come out to the home.
Actually ask you about that in just a moment. As far as like watering, when is the best time to water? How often should I do it? Is it like a daily task? What if it rains? Watering, how often and when's the best?
Yeah, generally watering times would be either in the morning or in the evening. You don't want to do it in the heat of day, only because the leaf itself can heat up, and it'll have kind of a negative effect in the fact if the leaf is hot and you're putting that cold water on it, it can almost singe the leaf itself. So you kind of want to stay away from that. But depending on the landscape, again, or if it's lawn should be watered every day. Again, in the evening or in the morning for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes at a clip. And plants, you kind of just see, if they start to wilt, you want to water them, but at least 3 to 5 times a week on plant material. Mm-hmm. Containers would need to get watered every day. But if it's in the ground, and for instance, we've been having a kind of wet summer so far, so you really shouldn't be out there. You shouldn't have to do a lot of watering. Let's put it that way right now with your landscape.
That's good. And what about mowing? How often should I mow, and what height should the grass be? I try and cut it as short as I can so I don't have to do it again anytime soon.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of go that way. That's not the best way. It certainly can work, but generally once a week and right around 3.5 to 4 inches, which you can really, and any mower will have a setting that you can set that. It's not like you have to go out there with a tape measure and see. So it is really easy, but you don't want to go too short because you don't want to burn the grass out in the heat. So about 3.5 to 4 inches in length, and at least once a week. You can go a little bit longer. Your neighbors might not appreciate it, but again, no more than 2 weeks, but certainly once a week, I'd say.
Excellent. And I know we were going to talk about the consultation, what to expect from a consultation with a landscaper. But also I saw another question that was asked from the audience. I believe someone had asked about seeds versus planting flower. Is it better to start a garden from seeds or already starting to grow, which seems like cheating? Is that cheating, John? And is it better?
Well, no, I wouldn't say it's cheating. And again, I'm assuming that the person's probably referring to a vegetable garden. You certainly have more variety when it comes to seeds, but when you start off with an existing or an established plant, you're just kind of skipping ahead in the process. That's all. You're actually going to get something that will bear fruit or vegetables that season. The level of upkeep greatly reduces itself when you're starting off with something that you can actually see. And again, with seeds, you really don't know what's going to take and what's not. And then, of course, you can confuse the little saplings with weeds unless you keep on top of it and really know what you're looking at. So I would stay away from seeds unless, again, it's something unique that you want to buy that you just can't find elsewhere. But yeah, that's kind of an old school way of doing it. The seeding, I think. I'd stay away from that. I'd stay away from that.
All right. So not cheating, actually preferred. And John, consultation, what's that like? I know Plymouth does offer those. What can they expect when you come by and look at their yards, whatever shape they might be in?
Well, depending on, well, first, there's no charge. And with that, we come out, we'll discuss specifically what the homeowner is looking for, discuss the budget, and then we will then submit a design based on that consultation. All of that is for free.
Awesome.
And then, hopefully we get the job. Hopefully they like it. But yeah, generally it's just for us to get a feel for what the homeowner likes. And it doesn't have to be specific. We've gotten things as broad as, I just want something color. I don't know what color I like, but I want it colorful. And I've got 10 grand to spend. So we can take it from there and kind of design something and incorporate irrigation, lighting, and landscape within that budget.
Nice. All right.
all great tips, John. We do appreciate you coming on. I want to make sure our viewers know PlymouthNursery.com. That's how they can get a hold of you. Correct, John?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you guys. I really appreciate this.
Thank
No,
you.
our pleasure to have you, and great tips tonight. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
John Sheehan, great tips. And see, I keep my lawn a little longer, and it always has been that way. It gets really hot in the summer, and I have little, very little amount of shade in my yard, so I have to keep the grass long. Otherwise, if I cut it really short, it's game over. That thing's going to be dried out by mid-July. So,
Well, I've got the electric mower.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was a gift from my parents, and and you just got to remember to charge it, but. Good for the environment, and it's a good workout.
Great information. Hey, and just remember, next year, pre-emergent, Ava, we'll get rid of those weeds. Just remember. All right.
Yes, I'm on it.
On to the next. I'm excited for our next guest because he was our number one, or actually, he was our first guest on our first show. Rich, you may all remember from our November 2020 episode, he offered the smoothie recipe for Thanksgiving. He was so popular amongst our viewers, we have him live on the show in just a few. But first, Grill Master Rich sent in a few tips for the beginners, experts, and everything in between.
Hi, my name is Rich. I'm here to show you, hopefully, on how to be cool with your barbecue, especially if you're new at this. Step one, very important. You need a cool barbecue shirt. Now, a lot of people just go for the plain old t-shirt. No, that shows you have no imagination. No effort goes into it. Some people think they're going to put on an apron that says something clever like, kiss the cook. Yeah, clever. No, trust me. Look around, get yourself a cool barbecue shirt. I've chosen this shirt as my barbecue shirt. One of the reasons, most of the colors in this shirt, they don't appear in nature. You show up wearing this at the barbecue, people know you're there to cook. You're not just one of those eaters. Okay, step two. You have to make one of the biggest decisions of your life. No, it's not whether or not to get married. No, it's not whether to buy a house or just keep renting. This one counts. You have to decide propane or charcoal. So how do you choose? Obviously, go to our friend, the great Google, and ask propane or charcoal. Okay, let's see the results. Propane. Charcoal. Propane. Charcoal. Propane. Charcoal. Okay, you got your charcoal grill, you're ready to go. Next thing you need, actual charcoal. Buy the match ready stuff. Don't fool around with lighter fluid. Lighter fluid equals explosions. Match ready stuff, these are rocks that burn. How cool is that? It's like magic. Only it's not magic, it's science. Science is like magic for smart people. So I poured in my briquettes, keep them in there. Take your grill, very important, because that's the rack that's going to cook all your hot dogs and hamburgers. Once that's in there, all you need to do, find a light, put it down, put it against one of those rocks. What does that do? That lights it up. You now got fire, but you don't cook with fire, you cook with heat. Once that's on there, we cover it up. Now we're going to wait 20 minutes. So what are you going to do with that 20 minutes? Well, you could go to your nearest screen and look up on your Comcast Xfinity, go to the University of Phoenix website. You could finish your degree. You could take a couple of self-improvement courses. That's the way to go. Or you could just go get yourself a beverage. Heaven forbid I try to make you a success. Whatever. Okay, fire is out. Now all you got is the heat. Now's the time to add the meat. Hey, I'm a poet and don't know it. I'm only putting on the hot dogs today, but now's the time you would also add the hamburgers or the chicken if you're doing that. Put them on the outside of the grill. That's where they cook the best. They cook a little slow. Put them on. Put the lid on. Now let them cook. Now we got a little time. Let's see what we can do with that time. Okay, so your hot dogs are cooking. Your burgers are cooking. They're going to be great because you're that far along on how to be a great grill person. Next thing we got to worry about, what are we going to put on that bun? Well, most people put out your basic ketchup. They put out a couple of mustards. They think they're condiment cool. This is not condiment cool. Condiment cool would be everything that you can squeeze on, slap on, spoon on. That's condiment cool. You got your mayonnaise, you got your salsas, you got every kind of dressing. You got your hot sauce, your wing sauce, you got your French, you got your ranch. People love ranch. Don't know why. Go with the A1. They'll think they're having steaky hot dogs. And you really want to be cool? Bring out the sardines and the anchovies. Trust me, if a mermaid or a sea captain show up, that's what they're going to be looking for. Now me, I'm a Philly guy. What do I like on mine? I like the cheese whiz. That's right. Put it on thick. That's how you're going to taste it. Then you throw on a couple of pickles. Boy, nothing beats that pickle taste. And then you want to be really healthy and give it a little bit of a sweet edge. That's right. What you want to do then, bring out just one line of honey. And as everybody knows, real honey comes from a bear. So you got your bun, you fold that up. Oh my God, that is so good. Oh, this is going to be a great barbecue. And it's going to be even better as soon as we put a hot dog on here. So the hot dogs are ready to go. Come back, plate them, put a couple of them on the buns, just because some people don't know how to assemble a hot dog. Now, to remain cool at your barbecue, got to remember, some people don't eat meat. We'll call that person Ava. So in order to deal with Ava, we got to come up with something. We got a round grill. We need a round food. What do you get? Go to your freezer, pull out your frozen veggie pizza. How do you prepare a pizza for the grill? You open up the box, you slide it on, you cover it up. Now that takes about 5 minutes to cook. What are we going to do in that 5 minutes? Simple. I got some great barbecue jokes for you. What did the two vegans say when they saw each other at the barbecue? We have to stop meeting like this. Okay, 5-6 minutes have passed. Look at that. Get those oven mitts on. Take the rack right off of the grill. There you have a delicious, yummy vegetarian option for your barbecue. You now have all the tools to have the coolest barbecue. Enjoy.
And we sincerely thank Rich for the video that he sent in. Made it extremely easy to edit and put together. I was laughing the whole time I was doing it. He's just kind of got a knack. And at this time, we'll welcome Rich to the show. Rich, thanks so much for joining us, sir.
Hello, Rich.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
You know, my favorite part about that many people may have overlooked was the fact you had Jif peanut butter as part of the condiment selection. I thought that was very, very awesome.
But I left the jelly out. Jelly would just be crazy on a hot dog. Come on, really?
We don't want to get too crazy.
No way, no way.
So it's ironic you mentioned one of the questions we had prepared for you initially before seeing the video was, are you a propane guy or charcoal? I know that's like a big that's a big battle, and I'm also a charcoal guy. I would prefer it all day, every day. I just feel like you get better flavor. Is there any other tips that you have or anything that people come over to your house specifically that you grill well?
Well, I like to just go with the basics. Your hot dogs, your hamburgers, your pizza, maybe some chicken. I don't like to spend a lot of money on getting like the fillets out because, well, too easy to waste a lot of money to get burned. So even if you ruin a hot dog, they're still good.
That is very true. That is very true. And I love the plug for Ava. Ava, I had no idea you were a vegetarian or a vegan or whatever.
Well, as we discussed, I think I'm a pescatorian. Is that what it is? I don't do a lot of red meat, but I like chicken. And oh my gosh, that was, I forgot where my mute button was, but I hope you didn't hear me laughing because that was amazing, Rich. Awesome. How many takes did that?
I think it was pretty obvious. The entire thing was one take.
Wow. Well, that's impressive.
Yeah,
that is you are natural. That's why we had you back.
or something. Yeah. So
well, we appreciate you coming on, and certainly the plug for Xfinity and University of Phoenix. That was was a nice
I saw that. I got
seems like a good fit. Plus, it guaranteed that I'd actually get on. So
we're gonna have to have you back. I meant that when I said that in the intro. There, we did get messages that were like, "Oh, that Rich guy is really funny," from back in November. So, and I literally said, "We got to have him back sometime." And when you offered to do the Grill Master, I'm like, I already know it's going to be a good time. So,
and the honey bear came back. I liked how he incorporated the honey bear. Amazing.
Yes. Oh, yes. That was the joke from. Yeah, exactly.
And
Good
it's
stuff.
surprisingly, it really is good on a hot dog.
I can imagine. We even had one of our guests comment that it's the best honeys at ShopRite. So we're getting all kinds of hot takes on the condiments. Right there, it is from Eric.
There you go.
Good stuff.
He's
Well, thanks a lot,
everyone.
Rich. We appreciate your Grill Master tips.
Thanks, Rich. We'll see you soon.
No problem. Have a good one, guys. We'll stay out.
Thanks a lot.
That guy. Oh my
Rich,
God.
he's too much. He's we got to have him on more often. He's definitely a hoot.
He thought of everything.
Well, how do you follow that? We've seen so far that summer can cost everyone a few dollars with the landscaping, the grilling, especially if you get one of those fancy Blackstone grills. I think I saw our next guest, Jessica, comment about deciding on a grill. I've got all these friends of mine telling me to buy this $500 grill, and it's super amazing. So next up, our financial coach, Jessica Marone Parks. Jessica, I'm hopeful you may be some help to budgeting for all this stuff.
All right. Hey, guys. How are you?
We're doing well. Thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So it was really interesting going to your website and reading your bio and seeing that, you spent some time in online media. You've had some experience in the hospitality industry. You have quite the diverse resume. And my first question to you is really, now you're on this road and path to empower women and get them to entrepreneurship. So where are you pulling this inspiration from? What on your resume is really giving you the motivation to kind of move forward with this?
Well, last time I looked in the mirror, I figured out I was a girl. So that's my first,
okay.
my first thing. No, I'm just kidding. So really, why? Okay. I think, why does anyone ever start anything in life? Usually because of some kind of experience that they've had in life. And for me, it was starting to have kids. 2013. So February 9th, 2013, my husband and I got married. About 3 weeks later, I decided I was going to franchise my first business, a newspaper, and I was going to be a newspaper owner. And then about 3 weeks later, we found out that we were going to be expecting our first child. So I literally was trying to learn how to become a wife, a business owner, and a mom all at the same time. And basically just had a huge identity crisis. Like, who am I? You go through school as a little girl and you kind of get treated just like the little boys do, do well in school, get a good job. And then that's going to equal your dream life. But if it's not talked about in your household a lot, you really don't think about being a homemaker. And so I was kind of at this crossroad and I was like, holy crap, I'm not equipped for this, like mentally, physically, like I don't know what's going on. And what happened was through that journey, I started, like, I was like literally like Zoolander. I was like, who am I? And what I started to do was ask other women. I have now that after I had the baby and I had that media background, I'm just a naturally inquisitive person. And I just would start to ask other women that stayed home, women that went to work, and put their kids in daycare every day, like, totally two ends of the spectrum. And I would start asking them about their journey and why they made the decisions that they made. And I was just hearing all of these amazing and inspirational stories. And last June, so this is actually like a startup project, the She Interviews. Last June, I said, I talked to one of my other mom friends and I said, I want to start recording these interviews because I'm inspired by them. And I know I'm not the only mom out there that's feeling alone. So I want to record these interviews and I want other moms to be able to listen to these interviews, feel inspired, feel like they're not alone, and feel like there is a way for them to figure out their own path. So
I've read a couple of there and listened to a couple of those. The sheinterviews.com. We definitely want a plug for that site. That is, you can find some good stuff. I enjoyed reading all of this, and I know Ava's got a bunch of budget questions and things. So I want to get to her, but I have to ask you, when you're hearing all of these stories, when you're trying to kind of come up with a financial budget plan for all these women and kind of get them to where they want to be, is there a common denominator? Have you noticed anything like that?
Yeah. So, it's funny because one of the things that I do is I actually train and recruit, develop and train other people that want to work in the financial world. And sometimes I'll be talking to a woman that's like really energetic and bright and good with people. And I say, hey, like, would you be interested in taking a look at what I do? And they'll say, oh, I'm not good at money. And I kind of laugh because I say, well, it really doesn't have a lot to, or they say, I'm not good at numbers. They say, I'm not good at math. And I laugh and I say, well, it really doesn't have that much to do with math. I said, I gotta use a calculator for everything. Really, the common denominator is not how good you are at math. It's really a mindset issue. It's just like anything else. Someone that overeats, someone that can't wake up in the morning, someone that says, oh, I got to get exercising started. Handling your finances is just another set of positive habits that you need to learn and instill in your life. So it's learning the education and then also having the mindset. So if you continually tell yourself, oh, I'm bad with money, I can't save money, or I don't make enough money, whatever you believe is the truth. So it's more my clients that become successful with their money are the ones that I really coach about their mindset, and they start to change the relationship with money and how they feel about money.
That's excellent. I love it.
Some pretty good advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Ava, I know you had some questions in regards to...
so many, but I'll streamline it. But this
Ava
is awesome.
She loves to spend. She loves to spend. So he's fulfilling that common denominator.
Yes, I'm a great shopper. I consider myself a thrifty shopper, but as moms go, I do not have that experience. However, I know that many can feel overwhelmed. They've kind of got to balance it all. What's the best advice you have for a mom feeling overwhelmed? Because you, like you said, you were in that situation. What can you tell them to do first?
So overwhelmed in general, or overwhelmed about their finances?
Overwhelmed with everything and finances, I guess. Let's go with it. Let's go with the trifecta.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, feeling overwhelmed as a mom, a lot of times I think that we subscribe to this thought that like we're supposed to have it all. We're supposed to be the modern day woman. We're supposed to have that career and have the perfect kids and have the perfect home. And who says, right? So I think the first thing for a woman that's feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling overwhelmed because number one, they're probably trying to give from an empty cup. They probably are neglecting themselves. They probably need to learn some habits of self-love. And I think it really all starts with that. It's taking things off your plate that you don't really necessarily need to do and actually put yourself first. And I know that sounds cliche because, how many times has a mother been told like, oh, you're overwhelmed, like take some time for yourself, like have a bubble bath. Like, no, there actually needs to be some more deeper mindset work that has to go on. It's not just trying to have that bubble bath once in a while and take some time for yourself. It's literally thinking about how you feel about yourself and your self-worth and putting yourself first in that matter. Meaning like if you do need to take a whole entire day for yourself, like most of the successful women that I interview, the common denominator among all of them was that they said the first thing that I needed to learn how to do is take care of myself on a consistent basis first and learn how to pour from a full cup. So a lot of them actually take a whole entire day for themselves without having to feel that guilt, without having to feel that mom guilt, like, oh, I'm taking time for myself. Like I feel guilty. I should be doing something for someone else. And that's not necessarily true.
I love that answer on so many levels. No guilt, and a bubble bath does not fix it all, does it? It's not a Band-Aid to all of life's problems. So you rock, yes. And we got lots of comments on your cool background, by the way.
Thank you.
So let's roll into some finance questions. How can I tweak my spending habits?
Tweak your spending habits. Okay. The thing with finances is it's really unique to every single person. Like a lot of times people say, well, on average, how much should I be putting away? Or what should my budget look like? And really every single person, the first thing that every single person should do, and most people don't do, is get a financial needs analysis that is for them, because your financial plan is like a thumbprint. Everybody has different needs and wants. Everybody's a different age, so your time horizon's different. And everybody has a different income and different circumstances. So if everyone has a different, basically everything, there's no one size fits all. And it really is about sitting down and saying, what do I really want out of life? And what do I want to do towards retirement, and have all of those things written down. Like, these are the things that I really want. And then working with someone to put together a game plan to reach those goals.
That is an excellent response. And how can I pay off my debt?
Yeah.
What's the way to go about doing that?
Okay, so paying off debt, that's another interesting thing. So first of all, there's really an order of operations when you handle your finances. Finances can be very emotional. Like, someone will say, oh my gosh, I got myself into all of this debt, and I'm going to make a goal to get out of debt in X amount of time. So what happens is they wind up putting all their extra money towards the debt, and they neglect their emergency fund. So the first thing that I would say is, if you want to pay off your debt, before you start putting extra money towards that debt, you need to make sure you have a healthy emergency fund, because the emergency fund is basically going to act as your safety net for your credit card. Think about this. How did you get into debt in the first place? An emergency came up, or you spent money that you shouldn't have spent, but usually it's an emergency that came up and you had to put it on your credit card, right? So if you're putting all your extra money towards paying down that debt, and then another emergency comes up, what are you going to do? You're going to wind up putting that emergency back on the credit card, and then you're starting the cycle of debt all over again. So that's my number one piece of advice for someone that wants a debt elimination plan is keep paying those minimums. Depending on how much extra money you have, keep paying those minimums and get a healthy emergency fund first before you start paying over and above the minimum payment.
Oh,
So that's yes and no. That really depends. Okay, this is something that people do sometimes, but you need to know all the rules of the game. So if you're transferring your balance to a 0 APR, you have to know when that APR is done, and you have to make sure that you can pay it off in that time frame, because if you don't, all of the interest that you would have accrued in that time is going to be tacked on at the end. So I'm not saying that won't work, and I'm not saying there's not strategies to use, but that the number one for everybody is having that healthy emergency fund. From there is tricks like doing that, and then there's also doing sometimes they call it a snowball effect, where it's basically you look at all of your debts, and there's two variables. There's basically the balance on the credit card and how high the interest rate is. And depending on those two variables, what I would do is I would look at all that, and I would say, this is the order of operations that we're going to pay these debts off in. And then usually that helps the client get out of debt anywhere from 5 to 10 years sooner. And usually we're avoiding thousands of dollars in interest. And this is great because now we are avoiding doing things like 0%, switching around, because that all gets tracked on your credit report, right? So the banks are eventually going to get hip to that, and they're not going to offer that to you. So doing that once or twice, you can get away with it, but I wouldn't use that as my primary plan.
I liked how she just called it out. She saw the comment and she just jumped on it. She is with it. Wow. I believe you know what you're talking about, Jessica.
Eliza also had another great question about IRAs. I don't know if you have another question for me, but she did have a good one there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it.
All right. So, yep. Is it better to invest in an IRA or learn how to deal in digital currency like Bitcoin? And this is this is so huge right now, Bitcoin. So the first thing that, again, it all goes back to your objectives and your goals. Okay. So first of all, an IRA and Bitcoin, that's comparing apples and oranges, because an IRA is a type of account, and what you put inside of the account is investments. Bitcoin is a type of investment, which you currently, I don't think, can put into an IRA. There's some companies now that are coming out with mutual funds that deal in digital currencies. But the big thing right now is like an IRA. Traditionally, you put stocks in there, you put mutual funds in there, okay? And the thing with these types of investments is they have a track record. They have a track record. The stock exchange has been around forever. So number one, when you're doing your homework to decide what you're going to invest in, you look at the track record of a mutual fund and the person that is managing it, right? So that's going to give you some data to figure out if that's appropriate for your goals. And then the second thing is it's backed by substantial stuff, right? Like it's backed by currency, it's backed by money, like it's backed by things. There's a reason it goes up and down. Bitcoin is like a completely different animal right now. I think it's here to stay, at least temporarily, but there's nothing substantial behind it. It just had the value that's put on it basically is like who's the popular kid in school right now and what's the popular kid doing and saying. And depending on what the popular kid is doing and saying, it affects it going up and down. So if it, I would not bank my retirement on that right now. We need to understand more about that. I'm not saying if you don't have play money and you want to invest some of that play money and see what happens in it, but I would not be putting all of my money in there. I'd be putting it in something where there's something quantifiable and it's backed by something, and there's some data that can help us figure out what projections are for our future. So Eliza, I hope that answers your question and helps you understand the difference between the two right now.
All depends on your level of risk, right? If you want to get into the Bitcoin and the digital currency, for sure. The sheinterviews.com, I encourage all of our viewers to go check that out. Some great stuff on there. Info@thesheinterviews.com to reach out to Jessica. I mean, even if we don't use you for financial stuff, you're definitely, you could be like an inspirational speaker, a background designer. You have one of the best backgrounds we've had on the show. So
it's real too.
Major love for that. Thank you so much for coming on tonight to the show.
Yes,
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great night.
You do the same.
Wow. She's sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, Jessica came with it, didn't she? She just let you have it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I could listen to these guests all night.
I know. And I meant to ask you earlier because Rich did the little plug for University of Phoenix. And I know you guys got a lot of stuff going on. And hey, there's another thing that maybe Jessica can help people find money for, right? Online schooling, complete your degree.
That's right.
What's going on
maybe you have a career in finance.
There it is.
Accounting. Like she said, we have calculators, right? Right on our phones now. So don't let anything limit you. If you got a lot of credits and you just want to piece them together and finally finish that degree, absolutely. You can text me or visit www.phoenix.edu. We have alliances with lots of companies. So you may get a further discount. Classes as short as 5 weeks long, free application. Awesome. So definitely feel free to text or call and we can give you some more information or visit the website. Thank you.
Good stuff, Ava. And our next two guests just have incredible stories about them. Our next guest up has an inspiring story. Mr. Tony Casanova, he's known somewhat famously in Metro Detroit as the Invisible Dad, especially within the Walled Lake School District. And Tony, we welcome you to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited that I was actually able to be here. I know we had scheduled another time to be here, and a friend of mine picked me up to go golf, and I got stuck. And anyways, we're not friends anymore, so I'm glad we're here.
We got to tell the story here, and I got to talk about where this whole entire journey started with the Invisible Dad, and it started in an elementary school lunchroom, correct?
Yeah, actually, the way this story starts is at my dinner table one day. So my daughter comes home from school, and we were just talking about, like, hey, who do you sit with? What do you eat? That kind of stuff at lunch. This is about 5 years ago. And I noticed that my daughter didn't sit with her best friend at the time. And I asked her, well, where was your best friend? And she told me that she had to sit at the poor kids table. So I was like, the what table? And she said the poor kids table, where they give you cheese and crackers. So I was like, wait a second. So this kind of struck a chord in my head because I remember when I was, in school, my mother at times had to make choices between, just tires for the car or, being able to fund my lunch account and like that kind of stuff. But I always thought that this was how my mother and I did it, as a kid. It was just something that, that we did and made it through and like that kind of thing. So I didn't realize that like 40 years later, this same problem was running rampant through the schools. So the next day I went into the school and I actually talked to the principal of the school, and I said, with the idea of just taking care of this one little girl, saying, hey, if this little girl ever goes through the lunch line again and she can't pay for her lunch, just charge it to me. I said, charge it to one of my kids' accounts or whatever.
That's great.
And the principal was like, well, what we can do is we'll establish like another account. And then if she ever goes through the lunch line, we can take care of it like that. And I wanted to make sure that she didn't know, and that the parents didn't know that her lunch was being taken care of. I just wanted her lunch to be taken care of. That's all I wanted. That was it. So I talked to the principal about it. He said, we have to come up with a name for the account. What name do you want? That's how we came up with the Invisible Dad. I was like, we'll just call it the Invisible Dad, because the concept was like exactly that, right? An invisible dad that stands in the lunch line, and anytime a kid comes through the lunch line and can't pay for their lunch, you just kind of reach into your pocket and you're like, here, I'll pay for that kid's lunch. So on the way out of the office, I turned around and I asked the principal, I go, are there any other kids in the school that this is going on with? And he was like, oh yeah. So then I sat down again, and that actually started a conversation, about like, well, what's actually going on here? It turned out that at our school, it was only like something like 3 kids,
Right.
like, so it was manageable for me. I was like, well, I mean, I'll just take care of them. I'll take care of like the thing. From there, the word spread, like people were like, well, how many kids is this actually happening to? And that kind of thing. So with a little bit of help from the Walled Lake School District, Judy Avola, and, like the people in communications and that kind of stuff, we kind of spread the word throughout the district. And then parents started to get involved. Because really, here's the bottom line, right? Nobody wants a kid to go without lunch.
Nobody.
That's the truth, right? So the problem is that nobody knew that this was going on. That's like what really is the thing. So what I was able to do was raise awareness for the issue, be like, hey, this is going on. Parents donated, across the board. And Walled Lake now is still one of the districts, nationwide, one of the few districts nationwide where as long as you wake up and go to school, you get lunch, no matter what happens.
Yes.
So so it's improved attendance, it's improved test scores, it's improved it's improved the school experience all the way across the board. So
one less thing for these kids to worry about going to school. And I love the evolution of this, because my kids also go to the Walled Lake School District, and they have had this Invisible Dad account for so long. I remember when it was just an envelope at the office, and then how fascinating that it became an icon you could click when you're funding your school lunch for your kids. It's in there, the Invisible Dad account, and you see hundreds of dollars in it, and that people donate. And then that's the next step is how do we spread it nationwide, right? That's the next step.
I want it everywhere. Should be everywhere.
Yeah, that's correct. So we've done a good job. I think, few organizations actually set out, I should say a lot of organizations set out to do good things. Few actually accomplish their goal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And our goal was to end this in Walled Lake, and in Walled Lake, it's been ended. Now I got to tell you too, like on the other hand, because of the pandemic and that kind of stuff, the government's actually stepped in quite a bit, and kids are getting breakfast and they're getting lunch and that kind of stuff as of right now. I'm starting to gear up. I've actually been kind of quiet for about a year because, number one, the kids have been out of school. Right when the pandemic hit, I got really involved in actual lunch distribution, like going out into people's houses and delivering lunches and helping out that way. And then the school kind of like did a phenomenal job. Honestly, like the districts did a phenomenal job of making sure that the kids stayed fed and that kind of thing. Now I'm gearing up because honestly, I have a little bit of fear, in my heart, like right now, that soon, as things do come back to normal, one of the things that's going to get back to normal is kids not having lunch. So I think that's something. So what I'm starting to do now is start to say like, hey, let's raise a little bit of awareness from now and know that like, hey, these government programs and these things that we're starting to rely on most likely are going to go away soon. And we're going to have to step in and, reach into our pockets again to make sure that the kids get fed,
And the kid, and they can start invisibledad.org, right? They can go there.
You can
learn about it.
Yep, you can go to invisibledad.org. You can go to Facebook, Tony Invisidad. And the best way, here's the good thing about Invisible Dad too. I know a lot of organizations come with like a lot of like hooply, send me the money and I'm going to take care of the kids.
Right, right.
That doesn't happen here. I can honestly say that every single penny that we have ever received has 100% used to pay for a kid's lunch, because there's no middle. Like, I didn't start this organization to run. This organization costs me money. It's how I give money to the community, right? So like from like all the good things. So it actually costs me money every year. And in addition to that, the idea is that like, if you ask me, how can I help? I'm going to tell you, go to Commerce Elementary, go to Keith Elementary, go in there and just go to the office. They've got accounts set up, drop off $5 or $10, tell them it's for the Invisible Dad. That's going to 100% go to pay for kids at that, school, kind of thing. Awesome. And if you're not in the Walled Lake School District, go and demand, go to your school, to your principal and say, you know what, make sure that the kids eat lunch. At least we could do that,
It's on my list for sure.
Now, I can't let Tony leave yet. Yep. He's doing some great things, Tony, and this is such an amazing story. But Tony, we saw Rich's grilling magic earlier.
Yes, he did.
But I had to give Tony some love and highlight his inside chef skills, because
Tony,
for the last 21 days has been making things and putting it online. And so when I asked him to come on the show initially, I said, hey, we want to talk about the Invisible Dad. And it just goes to show you that he's really, he's all about making sure people eat. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. Tony, you must have had some good training with some of these dishes that you have on display.
Yeah, so I worked for a very famous hotel company in the kitchens for a long time. And I learned, there I got the opportunity to work under very good chefs and train under them and et cetera, and that kind of thing. So what I've been doing lately, and I think this kind of goes along with what you're doing here of making things easy. Let me tell you something. You see what's going on here for dinner? That wasn't the norm about a year ago. So about a year ago, we got into the rut of having the same things all the time. Tacos, Caesar salad wraps, spaghetti with meatballs and that kind of thing. And we you just can't get into the rut of like, you're busy, you come home, you make some spaghetti, let's sit down, we eat dinner, whatever, and that kind of thing. And then one day, like my son was like, hey Dad, what's up with the tacos around here? It's like, it seems like we have tacos 4 times a month. It's like, can't we have something else? So I was like, well, let me start to think. So I took it as a challenge to say like, you know what? I'm going to try to cook different stuff. That was the first challenge ever. I'm going to cook different stuff every single night, whatever. And then I found that I got really enthralled into like, planning the meals. What was I going to do? It became fun. It became exciting. It didn't cost any more money. I know you guys saw lobster on there and stuff like that. But to tell you the truth, if you average all of these meals out, like as you add in the pastas and stuff like that, even with the lobster day and everything, it's only $30 a day for a family of 4. That's like what it actually ended up being. You know what I mean?
Not bad.
No, not bad.
Not at all.
And it was all healthy and made here at the house and that kind of stuff. And I think the kids got a kick out of like, I obviously decorated the plates and made everything look really, really nice.
Right.
They appreciated that too. So it was fun. It's definitely fun.
And
Tony, you're doing great things in the community. I'm sure your family appreciates the cooking. We have folks asking if you do catering. We just appreciate you coming on the show tonight, Tony. Best wishes to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Inspirational.
No, thank you guys. Oh, well, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. And I was able to, spread the word a little bit, and keep your eyes open for those kids. Go out there and help them if they need anything.
That's why we're here. Yep.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Thank you,
Tony Casanova.
Wow. What a jack of all trades and inspiration. I mean, love
he's a good guy. He's like I said, I'm familiar with Tony. My kids go to the same school as Tony. Right. And when I heard this story, I was like, he has to be on our show. Just doing really good things.
We love our everyday heroes on this show. That's
100%. And speaking of that, let's introduce our final guest who has just an incredible story. An up and coming motocross rider, paralyzed due to an accident on the track. He would only come back to compete, and now is making a difference with a patent for a cart connection to a wheelchair called the Capable Cart. Let's welcome in Darius Glover to the show.
Darius.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Last but not least, and thank you for joining us. My goodness.
Darius,
thank you.
For the guests who are not familiar with your story, I want to start with the kid from Baltimore who wanted to get into racing. And so kind of take us through that process, what that was like growing up, and kind of how you up and before the accident.
It was a little different. From Maryland, a lot of people ride on the street, and my brother was one of those people, and my mother wanted me to do it a little differently. So they took me to the track one time, and I went to me and one of my buddies, and ever since then, I never looked back. Just been riding ever since. So I've been racing dirt bikes since I was about 7 years old. I got hurt when I was 15, and ever since then, been back on the bike.
Yeah, and then what has that been like? I mean, some big changes for you, obviously, riding before the injury and after.
Definitely, it took a lot. So I broke my back and my neck, and it took me about 2 years to actually heal and get a bike set up so that I could ride. And I came back, and I just wanted to still race and kind of compete with all the people that I was racing with before. And I would be the only paralyzed one, and I figured out a way to do it. And like I said, I never looked back after that.
Now, I watched some of your features on YouTube, CBS. You've been on ESPN. Just an inspirational story. But
thank you.
You're on it, and no pun intended, you're on kind of a different track with this patent. So, and I know that Ava and I had been talking a lot about of just some of the good things that you're doing and kind of where your life is, that corner you're turning. So just talk a little bit about the cart and how that's going.
Yeah, so racing pretty much has just been my passion and my career and everything, pretty much my whole life. And even with racing, I was living in California, and I was out there to train and do things. And when you're training, you got to eat healthy and you got to eat right. And going to the grocery store, it kind of gave me some challenges. I was out there, and then I realized that I didn't have a way to go grocery shopping to get all my groceries. So I would go to the grocery store, I would put a basket on my lap, put a gallon of milk and a box of cereal, and it's falling off my lap. So I had to create something that would allow me to be able to be independent and be able to go into the grocery store and get everything I needed and be able to cook my meals. So I went home one day after I didn't have any other options. I was out of options of how I could shop, and I just wanted to kind of help, with myself and other people with the accessibility. So I created a shopping cart for people in wheelchairs. When you come into the grocery store, it locks onto your wheelchair, and you're able to have an independent shopping experience.
Wow, that is so impressive. On top of so many other things that you do. And
thank you.
I got a little Darius Glover fan club going because I watched the movie trailer. I saw your clip. But what for you has been the most memorable highlights of your career? Like what do you look back on and go, wow, that was really cool, and I'm glad I did that? And what were kind of
my most memorable thing out of my whole career? Probably racing X Games. X Games was probably the most. Just being in front of a big crowd, being in LA, racing in the Staples Center, the Coliseum. It was just, I don't know, it's just the best memory. And I think back on that, and that was probably my top accomplishment so far.
Wow. And what's a typical day like for you now? Are you still doing racing? Are you involved with racing, or is it all about Capable Cart and your?
Yeah, so I am still involved with racing, and I'm ready to get back riding like right now. But my number one focus right now is just getting Capable Cart into all the stores. So that's kind of been, with the pandemic, it's been a little bit of a challenge. So I've been actively working on that every single day.
Well, listen, I'm just so amazed by your progress. I mean, your life has taken so many rights and lefts. And I think one of the most powerful things I remember from that CBS story was your mom. And she said, I don't complain anymore. That's I've watched him go through so many things. What's really next? What's next for Darius Glover at this point?
I'm actually trying to get these carts in the store. As soon as they start trickling into the stores, I can get back on my bike, hopefully, and get back to racing full time. But it's just taking a lot of time doing this. So that's really what's keeping me busy so far. But I'm actually ready to get back on the bike and get back to racing. That's really what I want to do.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, we'll definitely be looking out for you. You can follow Darius on Instagram at Darius117. I believe that's his bike number.
Yes,
Darius, before you go, I want you to talk a little bit about Live and Learn LLC, because we do have the Facebook site up, and just a little bit more information about that as well.
So Live and Learn is my nonprofit. I go around to different hospitals, schools. I do speeches, and pretty much just let everyone know that, you go through things in life, but even though you go through things that, life isn't over, it's still things that you can overcome and do. I have a lot of people that are in wheelchairs or get hurt and, get in wheelchairs, and they think that they can't do anything. And I'm just living proof and try to show them that you can still do anything you want to do. You set a goal and go for it.
Amen to that, man. We're going to be watching out for you. We're going to see you on the track real soon. And it means a lot to us that you were able to come on the show tonight. We truly appreciate it.
Definitely. And my site is down right now, but it'll be up soon, and you can go and purchase Live and Learn merch. It's ridewithdarius.com.
Oh my gosh. A movie I saw, movie trailer.
Yeah. A lot of big things in the work. I can't talk about everything, but a lot
You're
of big
unstoppable.
things in the work.
Yeah, no, I could hear about all the great things you've done all night. So thank you so much, Darius, for joining us. We hope you will come back and join us with an update. And Capable Cart, I wanted to spread the word of Capable Cart. Anyone who's out there who needs Capable Cart, everyone does actually. So do reach out. Yes.
Just follow my Instagram, and then I also have a YouTube show coming with one of my best friends. He's actually an amputee. It's coming soon, so just stay tuned, and you'll learn more about it soon.
Okay.
Thank you, Darius, so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darius. Bye.
Darius Glover, man, he's definitely an inspiring individual for sure, man.
That was impressive, amazing. So many things we could have talked about that he does out there.
Could have spent a whole hour with Darius. He's just one of those great individuals, inspiring. I mean, you can go and search on YouTube, and just his entire story is it's pretty remarkable.
That's right.
Well, we thank all of our viewers tonight. We want you to share our episode from our YouTube page, like us on Facebook, join us for episode 8 in July. More diverse guests to come, and to all of our viewers and guests, again, we thank you. For Ava, I'm Lawton Luntz. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Hey, that's easy.
Thank you.